Alright, Mr. Wilson. Little gatekeeper here. I got your 12 pill, your X-Force 12 pill here. All combined together in 2 pill sections. Real clean bill. Let's see here. You said that you was driving a box with a 2 pill and you heard a pop inside the box. So fix whatever needs fixing. I got your number blocked out there for the video. Alright, man, you heard a pop. I've took a quick look in here. You know, capacitors usually can go pop. All the electrolytics seem to look fine. With you saying that, I'm kind of scared to put some RF through the box, so I'm gonna do some testing around first. Take a look at each section. Probably put a signal through it dry too. Kind of scared to put any RF through it with a DC. With DC on it, so we'll check everything out, man. That's one thing about, you know, when a box is done in 2 pill sections like that, man, you can really blow some transistors if you keep keying, not knowing nothing's wrong. But boy, they do put out some power, no doubt about it. We'll get you straightened out, man. So I'll be back. Let me take a look. Now, I will tell you, I did check. I went ahead and checked your fans. Because, buddy, I have heard these regulators, man, and they will make a good popping sound. I honestly thought that's what it was going to be, was the regulators. But they are fine. They are working. These amps can pull about 0.80 amps, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, 0.40 amps a piece, and they got 2 per regulator. That's kind of pushing it. But they do have the regulators against the top, so it looks like they're probably mounted using the top as a heat sink. But shoot, man, my X-Force over there, 2x8. I've got one regulator per 2 fans on that, but I got some big heat sinks on them. Real big heat sinks about this size. And I tell you what, man, them heat sinks still will get very warm. But with the fans hitting down on it, it stays good and cool. But, so it wasn't your regulators, man. And I was just kind of going through my head thinking what could make a sound like that. So we'll be back. Alright, man. Well, the wires were cut, so I had to go ahead. Good God, I know this took 30 minutes plus to do this. These cables are aluminum clad cables, and I really hated to see that. Let me show you what aluminum clad. I think I'm saying that right. Copper clad. I think it's copper clad aluminum. Yeah, copper clad aluminum. I barely got that much solder on it. I had to scrape it off with the Dremel so I can at least get so it at least look good. I mean, it just looks nasty. Let me show you what it did to my soldering iron. Take a look at this. Look at that. Now watch this. I'm sitting here wiping it off, okay? Look at that. That is what that crap will do to your iron. I'm going to have to treat this thing and put some thinner on it after I get this crap off. I do not like that type of wire at all. I'm going to have to go through there and get that tip cleaned off now. Man, I don't even see how in the world they got that soldered on that hot bus as good as they did. I've had to actually do some wild little things sometimes during situations like this, where I have to actually put some actual shielding to some coax over the power wire to kind of engulf it with solder, so it can at least be making a connection as good as possible. But they probably just got in there, hit it quick, and got in there quick, because once you put that heat on there, man, it'll kind of burn the copper away in a sense, and you'll be left over with the aluminum. Whew. I mean, I was almost tempted to just take these power wires out and put new wires in here for you, bud. But that's good enough, man. I'll tell you, when I figured that out the first time, man, I told myself I will never ever buy that type of wire again. Oxygen-free copper from that point on. All right, man. I just wanted to share that, and I'm gonna get my tip cleaned off here, and I'm about to run a few tests before I put a signal through it with DC on. But we'll figure it out, man. I mean, I don't see anything wrong. The only thing I see is this. See the relay, how it's popped up? Now that could make a sound. Listen to this. Hear that? There's a possibility it was down, and you know, the box was heating up, and all of a sudden a kind of popping sound like that, maybe. Hear it? You can hear it on the video here, and tell me if it kind of sounded like that, possibly. So I'm gonna get that secured back down for you. That doesn't need to be moving around like that. So I'll get that down with yeah, it's just, I think it's the double-sided tape used. Oh boy. I'll get that back down for you though, man. Alright, we'll be back. Maybe you'll be lucky, man. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe you're a smart operator, you heard it, turned it off, didn't key it again. And maybe that's all it was this. Wouldn't that be nice? Alright, I'll be back. Well, I found the problem, brother. Let me turn my dang headlamp off, sorry about that. I just noticed I still had it on. There's the culprit. Sometimes I say words wrong. There's the culprit right there, bud. The loading cap. Give me 1 second. Let me hook it up to the cap meter. And I was able to figure this out with a little, what I call, the touch method. 114 picofarad, and of course it's supposed to be 150 at 5%. So there you go, man. Oh, so basically, I didn't really have to get too in depth to figure this out. I've done a few tests, and I figured out. Let me light this celebration stove up. Hold on a sec. I know I need to quit, everybody. I know. Oh boy. So anyway. I ran a few tests and finally figured out that, you know, I felt safe to go ahead and put some RF through it at that point. So, I was getting output, and I had the 1 pill driver hooked up to it first, and I was getting output. It was a little low from what I would be thinking it should be doing. It was only doing like around 350 bird or so. And I went ahead and hooked up the 21446 driver up. And I really wasn't worried about the output at that point. I was just kind of wanting to see how the components were doing heat-wise and stuff like that. And I quickly noticed that this resistor right here was getting quite a bit warmer than the rest of them. So basically, if you follow this back, it's either going to be this 2-pill section or little solder blob right there. There's a couple of solder blobs in this amp, man. I'm gonna make sure to go through here and clean them out for you. As long as they don't move, you know, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. But I'll clean them out for you, ain't no big deal. But anyway, so it's either gonna be that one right here, which it was, or if you follow, it'll be the one right here beside it. So I actually pulled this off first, and I hadn't pulled this one off yet. I'll have to pull that off here in a second, but I'm thinking it's just going to be this one, but you never know. I'm going to check this just to be on the safe side. But anyway, so I pulled that off and checked it on the meter, and it had been devalued. Now, why did that happen? Now, that's a good question. Why did that happen? I'm sitting here looking around, and I just, up to my, knowledge of being able to see visual evidence, I don't see why that happened. A lot of times, well, what causes, see, that's a loading capacitor, output loading capacitor. You can call it output tuning capacitor if you wish. What causes that to happen is, of course, the voltage or current rating has been, you know, I tell you what, man, I'm having problems saying words tonight. It's been pushed beyond its limit, its voltage or current limit. And when that happens with these capacitors, they'll get hot, very hot. And usually it's the heat that kills them. It's the heat that devalues them. So it'll get super hot and will devalue itself. And then sometimes it'll get to the point where it'll short out as well. I've had many of them short out. But I've seen that happen by many things, man. Shorted coax, which that is not the issue here. Other issues, weird lengths of coax causing the amp to go into parasitic oscillation or something like that, to where it's overloaded. And I've seen it happen too, like I said, where a mini coax was actually shorted, and it caused the capacitor to overload, and then it began to start failing. But so I'm gonna go ahead and check the next one, man, and go ahead and put some fire back in it and see what happens. So I'll be back. All right, brother, got everything all sewed up for you, and this cap was just fine. There wasn't nothing wrong with that one, so that was the only issue. So I did take this off, just kind of check. I mean, these 150s, man, they can be, 5% up or down. So I just went ahead and matched this cap to that. I'm sure all the others are the same exact capacitance. So this bad boy is laying down nice now, brother. She is working the way she should. I've got her on a 200 amp plus supply. I've got her hooked up to the old big boy right here. That's the floating voltage right there. She's only going to float to around, drop to around 15 volts or so. And I don't really have a good adequate driver for it here. All I've got right now to drive it with is just the 1446 2-pill. I mean, you could throw your two 2879s in this thing, man. Hit it with a good 3-pill, and this thing would be rocking, man. But I can pretty much get it to 1200 bird, just with this setup now, which is good, which is real good. Just hitting it with two 1446s, and got your relay back down now. So this right here shouldn't be coming back up on you. So this thing is ready to go, man. So let's go ahead and let you see what she's doing. we are putting about 100 bird into her, okay? The 21446 is putting 100 bird into the 12. 2500 watt slug. Oh, that's right there, about 1200. What's this thing talking, man? This thing talking about $1,000, man. Voltage drop. 15 volts even. PEP. Laid in the corner. Oh, I had to check to see what it's doing max PEP. Let me grab this 5K slug real quick. Oh, is that it? Just a 2500 slug. I don't need that. Oh, let's see here. Where's the 5K? There she is. 5K slug. Let's see what she's doing. On the peak. Alright, we're on the 5K slug. We're reading the middle scale now. Where you see 20, that's 2000. Alright, this is PEP. So that's right there about 2500 watts. So that's good to go, man. Hit her with a better driver. Should be doing over 3 kW peak. Probably 1600 plus bird. And that, my friend, is a working 12 pill, the way it should be working. And I checked the tune on it just to be sure, and the tune is great. This thing is tuned out very well. I didn't have to do anything at all with the tuning. And I got all them what some people call solder boogers. I got them old solder boogers out your amp, man. You ain't got to worry about none of them old solder boogers, alright, Bo? I got all the loose solder out there, man. So I've went through this thing with a fine pick and comb, or however they say it. So I'm gonna put the top back on it, man. Solder the fans back in here, and put some screws in it, and get her shipped back to you out there around the volunteer state. I appreciate you sending this on down, man. I'd love to be able to work on more bigger amps like this, man, but y'all got to send them to me. We gatekeeper out here around the northeast end of Georgia. Anybody got anything like this you need worked on, repaired? Give me a shout and I will help you out the best way I can. Like my homeboy, Mr. Stickman, used to say, give me a shout and I will help you out. He is very, very, very missed. He was a blessing in my life, no doubt about it. I wouldn't be where I'm at now without the hours and hours and hours and hours of talking he did with me throughout the years. Man, I miss that man. Alright, y'all. Old gatekeeper said it. I'm gone.